Magnifying glass.
He's still signing. He's still signing.
You can sign after.
Okay, it's all good. I still have a couple minutes. I will have it be natural that she'll test it. I was going to point it out to her.
Former board member in case you were a board member.
Oh, yay! We need a fill-in.
Oh, right. And then record.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's right.
She does know this one.
Hey.
Probably. I guess we'll see.
I told him.
They won't forget to take it off the silent. Consent calendar. I didn't realize it. I just read the agenda stuff. I didn't actually count how many there were. Oh, can you not get through there?
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Cordova Recreation and Park District Board of Directors on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. to order.
Members of the public can view the meeting live on YouTube, and the link is posted on the agenda. Members of the public are hereby notified that meetings of the Board of Directors are recorded. Requests for the video and audio recordings may be made to the clerk of the board. And at this time, I'd like to welcome up Shelley Blanchard, Executive Director of the Cordova Community Council, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Blanchard. Let's move on to item 2, standing action item.
Item 2, standing action item, AB 2449 requests. This is the portion of the meeting where we deal with any requests to join remotely through AB 2449, and seeing none, the list is no action taken.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item B, comments by public on non-agenda items.
First, let's do the roll call vote.
Roll
That's
call.
all right?
Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
All right. Director Yearwood?
Here.
Director Mattis?
Here.
Secretary Langen?
Here.
Vice Chair Sloan?
Present.
Chair Danzel?
Here.
Perfect.
Now let's move on to item B.
Members of the public may address the board on topics within the district's jurisdiction that are not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It is a violation of state law for the board to discuss or take action on non-agenda items. Board members may only briefly ask clarifying questions or refer the matter to staff, and at this time, I have no requests.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item C, consent calendar.
Consent calendar items are considered administratively routine and will be acted upon in one motion unless separate action on a specific item is necessary. The chairperson will consider any requests for discussion on the items prior to the approval of the consent calendar. And this evening, we have 3 items for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I have any items that would like to be pulled by the public? Do I have any items pulled by the board? And any by staff? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent calendar items C1 through C3 as presented.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Director Yearwood and a second by Vice Chair Sloan. Roll call vote?
Director Yearwood,
Aye.
Director Mattis,
Aye.
Secretary Langen,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sloan,
Aye.
Chair Danzel.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, folks. Let's move on to item D, presentations.
Item D1, presentation of the Resolution 24/25-15 to the Cordova Community Council, and I'd like to welcome up Director of Parks and Recreation, Jill Nuns.
Hi. Well, it is my absolute pleasure tonight to give an official resolution of the Board of Directors of the Cordova Recreation and Park District celebrating the 65th anniversary of the Cordova Community Council. Whereas the Cordova Community Council, CCC, founded in 1959, has been a cornerstone of community collaboration and innovation in Rancho Cordova, fostering a spirit of mutual support and civic pride. And whereas for 65 years, the CCC has organized and promoted high-quality events, including the annual 4th of July celebration, one of the largest in the region, Kids Day in the Park, the Rancho Cordova iFest, and the Cordova Community Christmas tree lighting, which bring joy and unity to thousands of residents. And whereas the CCC has significantly contributed to the arts by supporting local artists and organizing art shows and performances through the Mills Station Arts and Culture Center, the MAC, thereby enriching the cultural fabric of Rancho Cordova. And whereas the CCC is committed to preserving and promoting local history through initiatives like the California Capitol Air Show and historical events, ensuring that the heritage of Rancho Cordova is celebrated and remembered. And whereas the CCC's efforts have twice earned Rancho Cordova the prestigious title of All-American City, reflecting their exceptional impact and dedication. And whereas the CCC has continuously brought together citizens, organizations, and businesses, embodying the essence of community partnership and making a lasting positive difference. And whereas as a valued partner of the Cordova Recreation and Park District, the CCC has been instrumental in enhancing the quality of life in Rancho Cordova through their unwavering commitment to service. Be it resolved and ordered that the Board of Directors of Cordova Recreation and Park District hereby recognizes and celebrates the 65th anniversary of the Cordova Community Council, expressing our profound gratitude for their enduring contributions to our community. So I'd like to welcome up Shelley.
As our vice chair.
Yeah, so we want to give this to you, but obviously want to take some photos as well, but if you want to say a few words, I appreciate it.
That's beautiful.
Who's that
Over
gentleman?
to you, Kurt.
Wow, a speech. Thank you very much. My name is Kurt Haven. I'm the Vice President of Cordova Community Council, and I'd like for us to just kind of think back about 22 years ago when the city was started, and this whole concept that Mr. Gabler, our first city manager, talked about, the three-legged stool. And Cordova Parks Recreation was definitely one of those legs. And the concept and the whole idea, and this is how we build our city, and I think our community is so strong because of that, is that we work in partnerships. No entity is bigger, no entity is stronger, no entity is more important. Each entity works together. And as we grow, there's growing pains, and maybe sometimes we forget that. But I think as a community, we come back. And this is just a proof that together as a partner, we're stronger. Together as a partner, we're able to provide services to the city. And I want to say thank you to the Park District, because as we go to these events at the 4th of July, the Christmas tree lighting, Kids Day, I am proud of our parks. They look gorgeous. They look great. You're putting a lot of effort into it. You have taken this role that we want to show the world what Rancho Cordova is like. We want to show the world that we do things better here. This is one thing I've learned from Shelley, and she's a mentor for a long time in my life. is if you want to be here, that's fine, Kurt. We want to be here. She always takes it to the next level. And that's what makes the Cordova Community Council work. That's why I'm on the board. That's why these types of relationships are so important. So I want to challenge everyone in this room to not just be here, but to continue to take it to the next stop. And thank you for this recognition.
Just really quickly, when people ask me all the time, what do you do? What does the Cordova Community Council do? And I answer it with one sentence. We help people fall in love with their city. And that's really, it is about love of your neighbor, love of your community. And I just can't wait to see what the next 65 years will bring. Because so far, it's been nothing but, when you tap into people's passions for the things they love, you just never can imagine where that will take you, and that's the story of the Cordova Community Council. So thank you for this recognition from one of our most valued partners, the Cordova Recreation and Park District, who, by the way, gave birth to us. The same people who helped form the Cordova Recreation and Park District formed the Cordova Community Council, an enlightened bunch of people indeed. And 65 years later, here we all are. So thank you very much.
Photos? Let's go down and do a photo with them.
Can I quote you? I'm going to quote
Congratulations,
you.
that's great. Thank you. Great job.
I don't want to use Kurt's whole speech.
Oh, act like we like each other.
Yeah, Jill.
We do. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
You have shorts on, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of dressed up for it.
Both of us.
We dressed for their people. I had to remind them.
Well, thank you for that.
Don't be going nowhere, Shelley. She's like, Rod.
What happens next? We get to Hagen for free?
You already do.
Right, we already do, don't question it.
Lifetime parking.
So let's move on to item D2.
Item D.
Fun stuff.
Item D2 is the presentation by the Cordova Community Council on the 2024 4th of July celebration. This is an informative presentation only, and no action is to be taken by the Board of Directors. And I'd like to welcome back Shelley Blanchard.
This is just what I love, the Shelley Blanchard Show.
Yeah.
One thing after another. It's my pleasure to be here as usual at this time of year to report to you on the latest 4th of July extravaganza that we all worked on so hard down in Hagen Park on July 3rd and 4th, 2024. I have provided you a very detailed report, but I did want to highlight a few things before you get back to business on other things other than Shelley. I think that the one thing we want when we're thinking about the 4th of July this year is the big story was the heat. And the brutal heat of the week leading upward, 115 degrees during setup and those kinds of things. We did take a big hit because of the heat this year in both attendance, and people came late, so not enough time to buy that second ice cream cone and that sort of thing. But certainly we still had a lot of people, and I just wanted to hit a few high notes, keeping in mind that this is not our best year due to Mother Nature. On page 2, you'll see that the ticket sales kind of show that we Our total ticket sales, vendor fees, sponsorships were down to $162,000 compared with $212,000 last year, so we did take a $50,000 hit just in that one area alone. But that doesn't mean that people didn't come, because they did. We had, between online ticket sales, gate tickets, our estimate of how many under fives there were in the comps, we still had almost 21,000 people attend the Rancho Cordova 4th of July. It is a big investment by our organization, by the city of Rancho Cordova, by you as well. Our investment, I believe, will total $180,000 by the time this is all over with, and we are still, settling, collecting sponsorships and settling bills. The whole event this year will probably cost, are you ready for this, $340,000. A lot of this is just the exorbitant prices of rental, equipment, insurance, a lot of big, heavy-duty costs this year. Running through, there's a lot of permitting that goes on. I always like to point this out because that with the 9 permits that we are required to get, every one of them is rather complicated. And I point that out because it shows to me that the permitting alone has become so complex that, volunteer organizations would have walked away from it. There's just no way that an event of this size and complexity can be done entirely by volunteers, although we have a bunch of them. Our parking is always a huge challenge this year, and I'm surprised Matt Goodell hasn't called me to say this number cannot be correct, and he's right. We parked about 2,600 cars this year, which is down from about 3,900 cars, and that's not a 8% decrease, that's a 33% decrease.
I didn't get my.
Yeah, sorry. I was reading that today, I'm thinking, I wonder what happened when I was doing that math problem, but I do want to correct that for the record. So that is in this 20 to 40% decrease that we saw across the board in just about everything. But on the plus side, we had 2 glorious fireworks shows. They were all safe and sane and well, maybe not completely sane, but there were no fires or no injuries of any kind, no failures. Our parade, we have no way of counting the people that come to our parade, but everybody involved estimates that due to the heat, it was probably down about 20% from previous years. Skipping over a lot of things. Police and safety, of course, this is a really huge piece of what we do. And this year we did make major steps forward by adding metal detection equipment at the 4th of July for the first time ever. Here's one of those, new costs of $14,000, and that's just to rent the equipment. We also had to pay some people to run it. It's not something you want to leave up to volunteers who might decide they don't want to show up on that day. Then what do you do with your $14,000 of rental equipment, right? So it worked well, and we had a very safe event, but this is probably one of those things, we're just at this point of where the world is that we're going to have to be investing in these kinds of things, which 10 years ago none of us would have even imagined we'd be doing that at the Rancho Cordova 4th of July, but here we are. Wanted to just make mention that at Cordova Recreation Park District, really enjoyed, as has been the case for the last several years, really great cooperation and help and can-do spirit, and I think we really work great together on this event. It's complicated, and we're always pushing the envelope a little bit, and you're pushing back a little bit, and it's just like, teenagers and parents in some ways. We're always going to push because, as Kurt mentioned, we always want to take it to the next level wherever we can, but nobody wants it to be safe more than we do. So thank you for bringing us back to reality from time to time. I would say that the biggest challenge of this event has been meeting your very strict, high insurance requirements. We are required to have $10 million in liability insurance if we can find it. This year we were able to purchase it, And so we were able to make that, but that cost alone was $16,981 to provide insurance for this event. So when you're walking in for $5 and people are grumbling, it costs too much to come to the 4th of July, they have no idea that some of these costs are super high. We have great help from the city of Rancho Cordova. That goes without saying. I do always like to bring how many people go to the websites to see what's going on at the Rancho Cordova 4th of July, and this year is no exception. We had over almost 250,000 people page views of the Rancho Cordova 4th of July website, meaning people really want to know. And there's a little, in your report, there's a little graph from our web provider. I think that's extraordinary. That seems like a really lot of page views. But again, when you have that many people coming to your town, there's got to be there's a lot of information to be shared. I always like to wrap up this report of highlights just saying that the infrastructure Hagan Park we max it out, we know that, and a future home for the Rancho Cordova 4th of July that can accommodate the larger crowds of our growing community needs to be figured out, needs to be identified. At some point, we just have no more room, right? And we want people to have a safe and delightful event, but we do need to be always thinking about ahead in 10 years when there's another 100,000 people around. Where will they go? You know, this is our biggest community event. In addition to the narrative, I did provide you with a profit and loss statement. Now, at the Cordova Community Council, we never consider the negatives at the end of our balance sheets for something like this as a loss. This is the amount of money we are investing of our own resources in the event. That's what we look at it as. And this year is no exception, other than it's going to be a little bit more than normal because of the hit we took from the weather. But we will be back, and that's not to say we're not going to do it again, because we certainly are. And we've even been spending a lot of time thinking about what do we do next year if it's 115, and getting some kind of creative juices flowing. In fact, at the event itself, when it was 110 degrees, we actually worked with your people on site. We said, what if we just turn on all the sprinklers in this big empty field and had like the world's largest sprinkler party? And I was standing, as I was kind of hatching this plan, there was a family standing next to me, and they overheard me talking with your folks, and they just thought that would be so much fun. Now, what happened was, because the way your irrigation system is set up, we couldn't do it on the fly like that, but we already have talked to your folks, because that would be fun. Throw a bunch of beach balls out there and turn on the sprinklers if it's 115 and let everybody run through the sprinklers. So, adversity always can hatch a plan that you never would have thought of otherwise, and that's kind of what we're looking at. Maybe there's something to be done with the pool, whatever. We'll explore ideas, because it's possible that could happen again, God help us, and we want to be ready next time. So with that, I'd like to answer any questions you might have about the event, which we deemed a success. We think, even though we had some kind of steep hills to climb, we think it was successful.
Director Irwood?
Well, the only question I really have is, was the metal detector something the police asked you to do, or is that just a standard now in these types of events?
They did ask us to do it, Michael, but we had been talking about it for some time. That given the world a situation such as it is, we know we need to be taking strides to tighten up security. But they had asked us to consider it. They didn't order us to do it or anything like that, but they did help us find.
It's kind of a norm now for something like that.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I mean, It was hot.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, I remember getting there on the 3rd, and I was like, oh my gosh, where's everybody? And then once the fireworks show was open, I said, oh, they're all here now. And the place
Yeah.
was like it would normally be. And I
Right.
ain't gonna lie, that parade, I ain't built for parade, that heat anymore. That parade, the next day took me out. I couldn't even go on the 4th like I normally would. I
Yeah.
was sleeping. So, that's all I got.
Well, I'm sorry. We
Oh,
missed
that's
you.
okay. That's all right.
Director Mattis?
Yes, yeah, the hot weather deterred me, because I was just, I could not believe how hot it was that day, especially with the kids. One thing you did bring up, so it's $5 to get in admission. One thing I was thinking, maybe to kind of show, because people don't know who puts on the event, and people say, oh, $5 to get in here. It might be worth putting like informational signs as people are standing in line to show $5, here's what it covers, a percentage of, this much goes to insurance, this much goes to this much goes to that.
Yeah.
Just so that way you have something to kind of, something they can read while they're standing in line.
Right.
And also maybe like a little board about the community council of what they do, how they function, and how they put this event on.
Well, as part of our, I didn't even mention this, but as part of our increasing safety at the 4th of July, we also followed all the Homeland Security. We sent a couple people to special classes produced by Western Affairs Association. We had kind of a elaborate increase in signage and that sort of thing, director signs if God forbid there were to be a mass casualty, all that kind of stuff. So when you said signage, that came immediately to mind. We are doing a lot of signage, but I take what you say, Mark, to heart, and I think that we could do a better job at telling our story, even if it's just on our website.
Yeah, I mean, just, people are standing in line, it just, something, get them off their phones, conversation, it's just a quick little blurb.
Right.
and
Did
they
you
can
know?
read.
Yeah.
Did you know kind of a thing, so.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
suggestion.
Secretary Lang?
Unfortunately, this year I wasn't able to make it out on.
What?
I know.
3 strikes and we're out here, people. What?
I have to fight with my wife about going somewhere else every year, so we've kind of done one year we can go here, the next year and back and forth. And so,
fair enough.
this upcoming year we'll be back. But the parade I was involved in, and yeah, I mean, it was a little noticeable if there was a little less people, but I do know that in the shade there was a ton of people. So,
That's right.
Yeah, it's just great. Thank you for the presentation and for the report and everything, and just all the information that it does give us, and it's very helpful, and it is a great event and a great time for the community, and so glad to be able to partner with you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate
Vice Chair
that.
Sloan?
So I'm thinking back to like 1999 when my son Zach was probably 2 years old. We walked into Hagan Park, and that's when we met Matt Haven in a jumping house. The jumping house during the 4th of July, that was about it. They had jumping houses and they had a few, the Kiwanis had some games, the Rotarians had some games, and then all of a sudden this thing just blew up. And the weather never kept me away. I don't care if there's a monsoon, if there's a tsunami, if there's a hurricane, a tornado. Warning, I'm there, because all the people who go to this thing are friends, families, and people having a great time and enjoying the celebrating their country. And one thing I was really shocked at to see. Well, remember, it used to be free. Everything used to be free except parking. I think we charged parking, and then that went towards the teams or something, or the football team. Sponsorship was way down. I was really shocked at that. Down
Well,
22,000.
I was just telling our board of directors, our sponsorships are way down this year, and it was just a function of, at the beginning of the year, when it's sponsorship season, our staff was very small. And so we have spent the first 6 months of this year rebuilding a staff, so that, don't worry, we will be back with sponsorships. If you can, we get very few no's on sponsorships, but asking for money, you have to do it. You can't just expect people to call you and say, hey, I'd like to send you money. And that was a function of the organization rebuilding the staff this year. So it's not any reflection on this event.
So in regarding to the sprinkler idea, I like it. It would be something like a Woodstock type of atmosphere.
Everybody take off your clothes?
Well-
Yikes.
Maybe we don't do that, but it could get muddy in a certain area. But if we do it in a certain area and we invite people to run, the kids could run through the sprinklers and cool off, that'd be fantastic. I think that's great.
I think we could plan a real fun, sort of old-fashioned 4th of July kind of activity around that. I really do, so,
I like the circus. I felt sorry for the circus people because it was so hot for them
Yeah.
to be out there. But you know, this is, I can only remember this being hot like this only one other time.
well, the circus people were from Illinois, and they had never seen anything like it in their lives.
They were looking forward to it.
Everything was on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can take the
Get
heat.
the air moving.
I can take the heat. I don't remember it ever raining. Has it ever rained on 4th of July?
Well, we have talked about this. I'm a recovering journalist. I don't know if some of you new guys know this. Most of my career is spent as a reporter. I do blame the media. They start talking about it's going to be really hot and people are going to die way ahead of these events, and it discourages people from going out and doing things that they, for years and years, did before they were scared out of their minds to try it, you know. And so I do lay some blame there, but this was unusually brutal, and so I'm going to give everyone a pass on that. Just hope for cooler weather.
Oh, it was just brutal month, July.
Yeah, oh, I know, it was just terrible. How you managed to keep the grass green for us on the 4th of July through that desert condition weather for the whole month leading up, I mean, I was really impressed. It was amazing.
Go Jim.
Shelley, thank you once again for a great event. For me, as everybody in this room, I believe knows, I do work with Cordova Community Council on that event, and 4th of July was actually kind of cool compared to some of the setup days we had.
Yeah.
Long days, but it's for the community. I mean, this was my 20th year working on that event, so I don't plan on stopping, but you know, we've had rain days before. I remember setup days where we've had rain, so it's like, wait, where's this wet stuff coming from? We haven't seen it in 4 months. But you know, as I know, being in charge of the food vendors, yeah, we all took a hit this year, but talking to the food vendors, they're all very happy because they didn't make what they wanted to make, but the evening times they made up what they thought they were going to lose completely. So they're very happy, and thank you for doing whatever. And we talk about the heat. Today was the first day in Phoenix that they did not hit 100 degrees for 113 days straight. So, you know, we dealt with a week and a half, they dealt with 113 straight days.
Wow.
Summer there, though.
That's terrible. Well, it was fun. We will be back. We're always open to your suggestions and ideas, and we're cooking up another 4th of July, 2025, so
It'll be your 40th.
Danny, and yes, it'll be our 40th annual, and of the modern day 4th of July, because we know that they were shooting off fireworks on the 4th of July way back during the gold rush, so we know that it's been around. It's part of being an American, right?
Wasn't
So-
there a grapevine during the gold rush?
I don't know. That's a good
I
question.
think there might have been. You're a distant relative.
But thank you all. We really appreciate the help, and let's do it again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, item E is committee reports. There happens to be none at this time. Item F, public hearings, none at this time. Let's move on to item G, regular calendar.
Item G1, adopt resolution 24/25-16, amending the conflict of interest code for the Cordova Recreation and Park District, and authorize submittal to the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors as the code reviewing body. And I'd like to welcome up Human Resource Manager Andrea White.
Good evening, Chair Danzel, Board of Directors.
Good evening.
I'm bringing an item forward to you that's something that we approve every 2 years. Some of you may remember this and some maybe not, but this is something that we're required to update. And so we're bringing it forward, and we have to submit it to the County Board of Supervisors before October 1st. So this requires that we update our conflict of interest code, and the only thing that we're looking to amend are the positions. So in July of this year, we brought forward all the positions that we have, the most recent one, which includes our new positions in park planning, and so those are included in this list. We also include interim positions just in case there is an interim position before we have to amend this again in 2026. So there's quite a bit of paperwork here, but honestly, it's really just updating the positions that are required to file a Form 700 with the County of Sacramento. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment at this time.
Director Yearwood?
I have no comments or questions.
Director Mattis?
No.
Secretary Lang?
Nope.
Vice Chair Sloan?
None here.
And I have none. So hearing none, thank you for your report, Ms. White. Do I hear a motion?
Hereby, we certify the resolution about, reading the wrong one.
Adopt.
Where did it go? Oh, here, I move that we pass resolution number 242516, the resolution amending the district's conflict of interest code.
I have a motion by Director Mattis. Do I hear a second?
Second?
I have a second by Secretary Langen. Roll call vote.
Director Yearwood?
Aye.
Director Mattis?
Aye.
Secretary Langen?
Aye.
Vice Chair Sloan?
Aye.
And Chair Danzel?
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. White. Move on to item H, Board of Directors items.
Item H1, we have new reports. Item H2A is the training report, and this month was the CSDA Annual Conference, attended by Chair Danzel and Vice Chair Sloan, and then we also had the Workplace Violence Prevention Training that was completed by Chair Danzel, Vice Chair Sloan, and Directors Mattis and Yearwood. And then item H2B is the Community Activities Report, and just a quick note on this one where it says CRPD Conference under Chair Danzel and Vice Chair Sloan, that should reflect the CSDA Conference.
Thank you, ma'am.
So you all are required to report out on your training, so.
Yes. So, Vice Chair Sloan, I'm going to start with you on the CSDA conference.
Okay, it was hot and smoky in Indian Wells. But it was probably a good 1,000 people there, plus, attending this conference. Special districts from all over the state. And they had a lot of nice, I love the little, the session, the guest speakers they had, they're always motivational speakers. One person I thought in particular was talking about the stress levels we all deal with in the daily life and how it goes from the blue into the red, how we can control that. And her name was Dr. Elizabeth Lombardo. If you want to Google that name, you might catch some of her stuff on the internet. Some of the breakout sessions I enjoyed was the one that I first attended was, I think it was the Future is Now, talking about artificial intelligence and how that's going to play a factor in the role of where we work, where we play, where we live, everywhere. It's going to be, everything's AI, and some people don't even realize that they're dealing with AI. And it's sort of it bothers me because I think AI is going to take away jobs from people who, I don't want to talk to a robot. I want to talk to a person, so. Another one that I thought was interesting was one on, let me find this one because it has to do with setting the stage for success, how to prepare for capital improvement financing. And as I sat there and listened and listened and listened, I go, boy, Matt Goodell, he knows all this stuff. There's nothing, nothing, all these boxes were checked by, I said, why do I have to be here? I feel so secure with our finance manager that I walked into it, I left there and went into a different thing, because I really felt confident that we're doing the right thing. And another one was I wanted to go see was a multi-generational one. And unfortunately, it was canceled and changed into some positive thinking, kind of like
Some stupid.
let's hug each other kind of a thing. And I wasn't happy about that. But a lot of the sessions were geared towards the financial stuff, how we can work together as a, one was how special districts can work with various partners and cities to secure revenue and improve services to our shared communities. I thought that was an interesting one. All in all, I got a lot out of it. It's sort of a tease being at this resort when you have to walk in the heat about 100 or so yards to the area where they have most of the receptions, and you have to pass this luxurious pool with people enjoying this, the cool waters of this resort. But I'll let Chair Danzel reflect on some of the other stuff.
Some of the sessions I went to don't apply to this board so much, but being the president of CRPD, I get questions from board members, general managers. So I wanted to, and they asked for advice sometimes. So some of the things that I did there, the Brown Act in the modern world, that's something constantly changing, and some things that we've talked about at this district, but how many people can like and comment board-wise on the districts? The district puts out Facebook post. How many of us can like and comment on it? Things like that. It was very interesting to hear how the laws changed and how things like that have changed, just to let us know that it's only 2 of us that can like it. So be the first 2, and if you're going to comment, be the first one. Otherwise, don't do it. You see it, look at it, and go, great. It's just part of the law now that's.
Does that include like sharing it too?
That includes sharing it too. So we all have to be making sure that we're very clear on that. It used to be 3. 2 years ago it was 3, and now it's down to 2. Which I was very shocked. I'm like, wait, it's not a Brown Act violation if there's not 3 of us doing it. Well, it is. So that was interesting. One of the other ones was, where is it? That one, well, the last one definitely doesn't apply to us, but how to get rid of a bad board member. Doesn't apply to us, but there's a couple districts that I work with in Southern California that they've got some problems, and how do they work those out? And they weren't there, so I attended for them and was able to, ask some questions and talk about things, and some of the things talked about can be very scary when it comes to, some of the way board members are and how. And we heard from an attorney that there was, in a closed session, that one board member threatened another board member with a gun. And how do they deal with that now that there's a restraining order, but they're both on the board? Things like that. It was kind of, unique. And there was one, Ms. Golden, that we went to, and I don't remember. There's another one we went to. Do you need the book?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, I'm going to actually let Patrick cover those. But there was, went to Brown Act, went to bad board members, and there was another one we went to.
Fill the spot the right way with the elections.
Oh, and if you have a vacancy, and what is a vacancy, how to fill that vacancy if, one of us, the easiest vacancy there is if one of us dies, but if, board members are gone for 3 consecutive, what's that?
Or moves.
Or moves, but the easiest, well, they did say in it that the easiest one is, if, that what's a vacancy is if somebody actually dies. But, moving is, and, if a board member is unresponsible, not doing their duties for, 3 months at a time, there are ways to go through removing that board member from doing, from being on the board. And there was, a couple little quizzes that we took, and if you don't sign your oath of office and the district doesn't turn it in, are you really a board member? Things like that. So it was very unique. We did earn some awards, but I'm going to let the general manager talk about those in his report in a little bit. But other than that, on CSDA, that is it for that. And then I'm going to, the next one is workplace violence, which I'm going to start back down at the end with Director Yearwood. Please tell us about your workplace violence seminar.
Well, I completed that a week or so ago, I believe. It was very informative. I've gone through similar type courses at, I work for a public agency, so we're required to go through those types of things as well. So I've seen most of the, I've been in training courses for what most of it covered. I was very happy to hear that our staff out in the field have cell phones so that they can address any concerns out in the field. So I don't really have much to comment on other than that. So,
Okay.
and who was that cell phone that wasn't muted, but nobody wants to fess up to that? Sorry.
Director Mattis?
No, I thought it was great. Like I was saying earlier, before the meeting, just that one stat that stuck out to me about the 2 million workplace violence incidences a year. And it stuck with me so much that I literally had to look it up to see how true it was, but then I see what it covers. I mean, it goes from mental health, police officers, and it was just amazing number that really stuck out to me. Never even thought of that. So that was definitely good to have that training.
Great. Vice Chair Sloan?
Oh, you didn't do it? You
No, I
did it?
did it. but-
Yes, it was before.
What, say it again?
This has been done.
Okay, well, I'm going to just piggyback on what my colleagues have said about it. I've taken it before when I worked for Regional Transit. Also, I remember one of our conferences, we had an actual scenario type of real life, what would happen, we're all at lunch, then all of a sudden these people come and start, taking over the meeting and how you dealt with it. And so in real life, you watch these scenarios, and you kind of wonder how people really are going to act in real life, because it's different when you're watching it on a screen, and these are actors doing stuff like that. But all in all, I think it was a good training, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to see it.
Great. Secretary Langdon, your name's not on the list, but I guess you didn't get a chance to report out when you did it, so we'll give you that chance now.
No problem. Yeah, it was just a good training, a good just reminder, as they've all said, like we've all had some sort of this kind of training in the past. Just a great reminder, just to remember what can happen, even like just the thoughts of what can. I mean, I'd love to believe that none of this stuff would happen, but it's a reality that it does happen in this world, and so it's just great to be able to be prepared. So.
And then I too also took the workplace violence prevention training. It was shorter than I expected. I mean, most of our trainings are a lot longer, but it was very informative. I do like that, staff does have the cell phones, and now that all staff has been trained in this, there is no question that, we all should know what to do. But we've all got the paperwork, and we all have the phone numbers now to be able to make those phone calls if we ever do need to make those phone calls. So I thank the district for, making sure that we all did get this training. I'm going to move on to H2B, and I'm going to start down with Director Yearwood on your community activity report.
Thank you, Chair Danzel. All right, I'll start off on August 24th, a cool rainy morning for some reason in August. The opening of Bora Park over in the Ranch subdivision. Always nice. There was a lot of people there. It's a smaller park, so, but it was very well received. I like how we always try to do something different at each park. The little animal prints in the cement was really cool, and the kids really like that. Chair Danzel and I were talking to two gentlemen who paid a little premium to have houses that the front door opens up to this park. I think he said it was $8K, and they paid $8,000 extra to open up their door and be at the park. They were very appreciative of it. They were concerned about the landscaping. They were wondering if we should put a small fence up around the half-court basketball so the balls and the kids won't fly into to mess up the shrubbery. But they very nice gentlemen, and everybody was. It was a great event as usual, and well attended. What did I do next? I went to the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce's elected officials soiree on September 4th over at, I don't remember the name of the place. I know it's the HQ5 for VSP before my wife used to work in that building. A very nice event. It's always nice just to get together with all the electeds and other folks from the community to just chat and see what's going on, what everybody's up to. Let's see here. I also went on 9/11 to the opening ceremony for the Remembering Our Fallen. That was at City Hall. It was an amazing display. I don't know if everybody had a chance to go see that, but it was pretty impressive to see it, and it was a nice ceremony. Some great speakers. I don't recall the gentleman, but he's Ami Bera's deputy chief of staff, who was a wounded veteran from there, and he talked about his struggles and things like that. It was a very moving story he shared with us. And then I went this last Monday, September 16th, to here for the CRPD candidates presentation. It was a nice presentation, well done by everybody who attended. The handout and everything was great. I think it was very helpful for the folks who haven't been through this before, haven't sat on the board, so I think it was very helpful to them. So thank you to staff and Patrick for putting that together and putting it on. And that is all for me.
Thank you, sir. Director Mattis?
Yes, attended the Aura Park grand opening on August 24th. Same thing, it was a great time. Brought the kids out so they got to break it in the park, so that was a lot of fun. So the vegetation, everything's good. The swings or the playground equipment passes. Then on August 29th, thank you, Jill, we met with a constituent in my area, my neighbor, whose house backs up to Prospect Hill Park. He had some concerns about the irrigation overspraying the fence because he just replaced a bunch of panels, but everything worked out, so we're good. So he was very happy and really appreciated just meeting everybody, so that was really good. Thank you again on that. Then on September 4th, did the Rancho Cordova Area Chamber, the 2024 elected officials reception. That was great, just loud. It's hard to have a conversation in there. But I was able to talk to a few, especially got to talk to Desmond about another issue of where we live at, so that was good to run into him there. And then on Monday, we did the board candidate presentation. So that was good. I mean, it's always good to kind of just get a refresher on the position and what we do here and the reason why we're here. So that was a really nice presentation, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. I mentioned it to the agency, my full-time job, because same thing, we work a board for our agency, and they really kind of like that idea. And so, granted, we're not elected officials or appointed, but it'd be something good to kind of transition over there with them to kind of do an orientation.
Secretary Langman?
Yeah, so August 24th, the Aura Park grand opening. Took the whole family, and then my son's friend, and so just able to be out there. Great time. I really liked how just the different animal prints are out there, and you can go find them, and that's just a cool little feature. Director Yearwood was saying, just with the different things of each park, it's just really cool and a great opportunity to be out there and just talk to people. And so, yeah. And then on September 5th, the Rosemont Community Association meeting. Just a great time just to share what's coming up, and then just have conversation with a couple of the whether they're a board member or just a constituent who wants to share just some thoughts. And so just a good time to be able to just interact with them. And then September 16th, this Monday, the CRPD candidate presentation. I wasn't able to attend it myself, and so this was actually my first one. And so it was actually really good to just see and be at and take notes and think through. And so just thank you, staff, for all your hard work and dedication for doing that, because it did, with being, only on the board for about 2 years, did, give me even more insight and just help me remember other stuff as well. So just a good packet that I'll probably be reviewing every few months. So thank you.
Great. Vice Chair Sloan?
Okay, I've got 9 items. I like September. It's it's very active. August, September, October, not much October. Saturday, August 24th, our park opening, grand opening. Like my colleague said, it was a little rainy in the beginning, which was sort of a welcome, actually. And I also do love the themed parks. I love the fact that we were able to get the funding to put a theme into our parks. It pays off in the end because if you watch the kids going around trying to match the prints and all, it's a learning, it's an educational process. And also, it had really good ice cream. On Tuesday, August 27th, I attended the BRECA.
Correction, it wasn't ice cream. It
What was it?
Gelato.
It's got a higher fat.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I thought it was ice cream.
That's what.
Wasn't ice cream? Well, I stand corrected. It was gelato.
For the record.
August 27th, I attended the BRECA Steering Committee meeting, and I'll give you a couple of dates here, just to, if you wanted to attend and come by. 25th Annual Potluck in the Park is going to be Saturday, September 28th, from 4 to 6. On Tuesday, October 22nd, will be their general membership meeting, and that's from 6:30 to about 8:30. Wednesday, September 4th, I attended the Rancho Chamber hosted elected officials reception, and like Yearwood said and Mattis said, it's nice to see all these people in one room talking together like they love each other. It's refreshing. They care about each other, you know. Work together. I commended Desmond on his getting the lights for Jesuit High School. That was a great contribution. On Saturday, September 7th, I attended probably one of the most touching ceremonies I've ever attended for a Boy Scout doing an Eagle Scout project. And this young man's name was Gregory Rubio. And he really put together a display of showing the struggles and the accomplishments of the Tuskegee Airmen in 3 panels facing the tennis courts in a shaded area, which was nice too. These type of projects, this is definitely going to win an award. I can tell you that. I will bet a lot of money on that one. It had a lot of passion behind it. A lot of Tuskegee descendants were there talking about their grandfather or father who was, part of this, an Air Force battalion that was not treated very fairly during World War II. And when they stood up for their rights, which when we all come to, know what that's like. But I want you all to, if you haven't had a chance to go out there, it's at Veterans Park in Mather. And I highly recommend getting out there to check it out. On Sunday, September 8th, the next day, I'm back in Mather again for Grandparents' Day. And they had a lot of booths out, and they had bubbles, and they had DJ and dancing and face painting, and there was little arts and crafts. It was a fun little get-together for that community. On Saturday, September 14th, I went to Meet the Machines. And I'm telling you, this 2 hours isn't enough, because everyone there was having such a great time, and it wasn't dwindling down. We had to, when things start shutting down, things start driving off, then the people leave. But I'm telling you, people were having fun up until the very last second of that event. And it's always fun to, see these. I mean, the beach balls and that blowing thing is the #1 attraction. The kids just love it. They get the beach ball and it shoots up about 40 feet in the air, and they're all running around, grabbing them. On Monday, September 16th, I did the candidate orientation. I thought it was a great product. I'd like to see it packaged, maybe in a video or something that we could, refer to and people could see. I know the numbers will probably change because it has to do with how many parks we open, how many different, things that are happening in the agency, but it was a lot of information and a well-done orientation for board members and citizens alike. And then on Tuesday, last night, September 17th, I attended the It Takes a Lincoln Village, had actually it was basically for city council candidates that are going to be representing the Lincoln Village area, and I was just in attendance listening to what they had to say. And I actually did not hear anything negative about the parks. I will tell you that. Schools are different. Okay, that's it.
So my report will be a little bit shorter. August 24th, Aura Park opening. Our board members spoke about it, but yeah, it was interesting to hear that people were willing to spend, up to $8,000 to be able to open their doors right to a park. And that, it's a unique concept, having parks and front doors that close to each other. I mean, I wish they'd done that in my neighborhood, 70 years ago, and maybe I'd live in the front of a park. Conference, we already discussed. Saturday, September 14th, Meet the Machines. Great event. Glad it's moved away from the AstroTurf fields, and the synthetic turf that it used to be on when we first started. Now it's actually, in a park, and we can tear grass up. Not that Jim likes to hear that, but we can tear grass up and it's okay. But, driving, tens of thousands of pounds of machinery over, our fields out at Mather Sports Complex just isn't ideal for the machines or our fields. It's a great event. Staff works very hard at it, and always small tweaks make things better, and every year they seem to make small tweaks to make it better. And then Monday night, also attended the Park District's candidate presentation. We started doing that in 2012 is the first time we'd ever done that. When I got on the board, it was asking questions of board members. Prior to that, there was no, and talking to the general manager or the district administrator at the time, and just asking, being able to ask those questions. If you didn't ask those questions, you walked in completely blind. So it's great to see that the district's always moving forward and willing to, we are a transparent agency, as we've just recently found out again. But and the park district's always willing to put that information out, and they don't hide anything from anybody, and they're willing to share that information. So that is the end of my presentation. So let's move on to item I, comments by staff on non-agenda items.
Item I1, district-wide monthly progress report for September 2024. And I'll hand it over to General Manager Patrick Larkin.
Thank you, Shelby. All right, some highlights from the past month. Laura, Taylor, and myself attended the CPAC meetings related to the West Jackson Highway Development Planning and Environmental Review and General Plan Update. We're happy to report that the meetings we've had with that developer reflect the plotting of each of the parks and sizes. And so we were happy to see that that was the case when we attended that meeting. We will be making formal comments back to the plan. The next steps in that general plan update with the county is for them to go back to CPAC with some answers to some of the questions that came out at that meeting, and then it will go to the County Board of Supervisors for their consideration. So thank you, Laura, for attending and splitting the Vineyard side, and then I was at the Cordova side of that. I also attended the City of Rancho Cordova's Economic Strategic Planning meeting, basically to ensure that Parks and Recreation are considered in their plan as placemakers in economic benefits to new residents and developers. So like you just mentioned earlier, someone paid $8,000 for a premium spot on the park. So these developers are benefiting by selling their houses and using the park as a incentive to raise the price of their house. So there is an economic relationship between our parks and also obviously developers, and also why people move into the neighborhood. So I was happy to see that they did have us listed as one of those benefits that we're providing. I also went to the ribbon cutting for the Mather Tuskegee Airmen Historical Memorial at Veterans Park. It was, and I agree with Rick, it was an incredible ceremony. It was very passionate. It was very educational. And I, too, would encourage you to check out the informational panels that are out there. And we will be submitting an award for Gregory for all of those efforts. It was an incredible, moving experience out there, so that was fantastic.
And can I just add that I would like to thank Shelby and as well as Gary Atchison for all of their help with that project. It definitely was a collaborative, project, as well as Andrew Saltmarsh. So, I mean, staff had a lot of work in this, and again, it was incredible. That Boy Scout, it's absolutely amazing, but I just want to give a shout out to that staff as well.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely,
I
thanks.
forgot to ask, did that scout, did he have a connection to the Tuskegee Airmen, or?
No, he was looking at researching some topic that he wanted to educate the community on, and he came across a booth at the air show, and it had the Tuskegee Airmen at one of the booths at the air show, and he just went up and started talking to them, and then realized there's a really important story here that's not been told, and so therefore he kind of worked from that moment on with creating this project and working with our staff, working with the Tuskegee Airmen, and getting the story out there, and it was incredible just how that happened. He is actually studying to be a pilot. And so even at a young age, he's already flying and doing his flying hours. So he is very interested in that kind of, future. So he was drawn to that particular story and was very, very passionate about telling it. And it was really quite incredible. So, that's good. But yeah, that's how he came about. He found them at the air show. They were having a booth there, just kind of looking for additional members and trying to get the word out about this particular group, so very interesting. Who knows, when you have a booth out at a community event, you never know how it will impact someone, right? So, speaking of impact, at the CSDA annual conference, we walked away with some prestigious awards from the CSDA conference. The first award is I was fortunate and honored to receive the Certificate of Special District Governance, the District of Distinction Accreditation Gold, which is one of the highest levels of accreditation, and then the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence. So we are living to our mission, right? So it was nice to be recognized. It was an actual body of work that we needed to pull things both financially and administratively and policies, and we need to be in best practices in order to be even considered to apply for this award. So it took us several years, actually, to pull it together. And thank you, Shelby, for pulling it together and presenting it to hit the deadline. And I was thrilled that we were able to get that award. And when I looked back on our actual mission, we have that almost verbatim in our mission, that we are a transparent agency. So we are living our mission, which is something we should be all very proud of. So thank you to the board for doing your trainings and getting us to that opportunity where we could apply. And of course, thank you to the staff for pulling all of the information for the application together. So congratulations to everyone. I attended the Rancho Cordova Sports Hall of Fame event. It was great to be there and support Paul Hagan and his wife received a legacy award for their contributions to the community. And as the MC for that said, he built this city. He was really going off on that. But it was really actually true. And also Shelley this evening mentioned that Paul Hagan was instrumental in creating the CCC. So, and also the Chamber of Commerce. And so this legacy that he's left behind also was recognized in that he built facilities for sports to be played at. So it was really nice to be there. And the Hagan family was there also to receive the award. So I thought that was a really nice, professionally done event. So kudos to the CCC for putting that on, and congratulations to the Hagan family for that honor that they received. I'm glad that you all liked the board candidate orientation. Staff worked really hard on that, and I think it turned out really well. We're always open for, some tweaks or something that would be even more helpful. So if you do have comments or things, we'd be happy to take those in and apply them to the next time we have that opportunity in 2 years. So the other part was on October 1st, coming up, and on page 60 of your packet is our annual staff recognition event. This year, it's going to be hosted at Heron Landing Community Park instead of Hagan Community Park. And at that event, there will be honoring 5 years of service, 10 years of service, and 15 years of service employees. And the names are listed on page 47 of your packet. Congratulations to those staff, and thank you for, your longevity and for those years of service. It really helps when we have longevity here so that we don't have any interruptions of service and we have continuity. It also goes to show how great of a place this is to work. So longevity matters. So thank you, everyone, for sticking around and hanging in there with us. So some exciting news just recently. Exploration Park has just entered into the 60-day maintenance period, as well as Rock Rose Park is now in the 60-day maintenance period. Staff is looking to bring those two parks to the November 2024 meeting for acceptance. And as you know, after acceptance, the fences come down and they're open to the public. We'll be talking about how we're going to celebrate those two parks and some more information to come on that. I just wanted to let you know those two are in the phase of the last final stretch of maintenance. The other important update that is of today, I believe, the Larchmont Community Sports Court is completed, and I believe we're opening it back up to the public tomorrow.
Oh.
Bang! Huzzah! So congratulations on the team getting that done expeditiously. The courts look fantastic, and so we're excited to bring that back to the community in an excellent condition, and we will be continuing to monitor the conditions as we go forward. I'm assuming there will be no more bubbling and things like that, which was happening in the prior construction of that particular sports court. So congratulations to the team. Thank you, Laura and Terry, for really pushing it and getting that done. So I appreciate it. Last thing is there was another Eagle Scout project at Prospect Hill Park. The little library was installed at Prospect Hill Park in Gold River. So thank you to the Andrew for working with the Boy Scout group and Chase Sorino, I believe is his last name, for doing that project and providing a new asset to our park. I'm going to turn it over to Jill for her report.
Thank you. All right, a few highlights I'd like to share. We had our first family swim night and movie on September 6th. Another really hot evening in Sacramento. Started off with swimming in the pool, which had a good turnout, and then the movie in the park, which didn't have as great of a turnout. But always got to try something, right, to see if it works. So we tried it, and it was successful. And so I appreciate all the staff's hard work on doing our first swim night and movie. With kids back in school, our STEAM preschool and Hideout Teen Center after-school program are back in full swing, so we're excited to get those programs off the ground again, and they have both really great attendance. And then we've just got lots of programs, as usual, going on at the senior center. And Heather and her staff are doing a great job of doing the lunches on Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you ever want to grab some lunch, head over to the senior center and, take the fruits of the labor from the newly renovated garden over there. Board of Directors special event invitation. This Saturday is our first annual Barktoberfest. It's going to be over at Lincoln Village Community Park and Pool. If you have a dog and you'd like to bring your dog with you, you certainly can. If your dog wants to swim, they can also swim in the pool for a small fee of $5. Just make sure you bring your vaccination records with you. But you can enjoy a festival of food and booths and vendors, dogs, and we also are going to have some beer as well. So come by if you're interested from 11 to 2. The next Saturday, it's a busy September, like Vice Chair Salone said, it's a very busy September. RCA's annual community celebration, again hosted by the Rosemont Community Association on Saturday, September 28th at Rosemont Community Park from 10 to 2. That's always a great event. Patrick already mentioned the all-staff recognition event. And the Senior Center has a baked potato and bingo fundraiser on October 21st. And then Halloween at Hagen, our last big event for the year, outside is going to be at the Hagen Community Park, Saturday, October 26th from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. And hopefully the board is going to do another trunk or treat. So we'll get you guys that information.
Already got it.
Awesome. With that concludes my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item J, informational items.
Item J1 is our articles, correspondence, and public outreach. This month, we have the invitation to the staff recognition event, 3 articles and 2 newsletters, and item J2 is our board calendar for September and October.
Thank you. Any items that the board members see on the calendar that don't look right for some reason? I know they are, but any surprises? I see none. Hearing none, let's move on to item K, adjournment. Let's adjourn this meeting to the next regular meeting of the Cordova Recreation Park District Board members on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you, folks.